the Andrews government to stop shooting Brumbies and introduce Brumby legislation. I'd like to invite Beverly McArthur MP to launch the rally. Bev is the Liberal member for Western Victoria and Shadow Assistant Minister to Scrutiny of Government and serves on numerous committees: economy and infrastructure, electoral matters, public accounts and estimates. Basically, Bev keeps the knowledge. She is an outstanding supporter of Brumbies over the years, and at our rallies in Barmer and Melbourne, along with Wendy Lovell, Bev tabled e-petitions calling for a stop to shooting and the introduction of legislation. Bev recently supported our successful call to the government for an end to trapping Brumbies and any culling in foaling season in Barmer National Park, which is contrary to national regulator PestSmart's model codes of practice. So please welcome Bev.
Well, thank you, Marilyn and Renee, and all of you who worked so hard to save these wonderful horses. I'm wearing black today because it's a dark day for horses in the high country. It's an extraordinary situation where a government wants to shoot horses from the air in the cruelest fashion possible, isolating foals from mares in the foaling season. They'll die a terrible death. Everybody knows this is not how you humanely treat any animal, especially a horse moving at great speed from an aeroplane or a helicopter from a great height. This is extraordinary when this government is likely to introduce legislation to call animals sentient beings on one hand, i.e. they have feelings and whatever, but on the other hand, happily will shoot them from the air. I think this is an ideological issue as much as an environmental issue. There has been no real proof that the Brumbies are causing the damage in the high country and in the parks and state forests. There are many other animals like deer, pigs, that are causing damage to the environment, and there's certainly a complete failure on Parks Victoria part to eradicate those feral species, but to also control the noxious weeds which are stifling so much of the native flora in those areas. So I've happily supported this cause to save these heritage animals. I think they are a very important part of Australia's history and particularly Victoria's history.
Absolutely.
They carried our soldiers to war. We left them there to die. And now we want to shoot what's left in the Alps and the high country and in the Barmer forest. It's totally unacceptable to me, and I will do all I can, as I have done, to try and stop this slaughter. It is unacceptable. Thank you, Marilyn, Renee, and everybody who's come here today. It's a most important cause, and I support you all the way.
Thank you, Bev.
Thanks, Bev. Look, I just want to say a few words about the whole campaign. I first started campaigning for Brumby legislation to protect wild-living Brumbies in 2019 after the massacre of Brumbies on Singleton Army Base, which happened by helicopter shooting. I believe unless we can achieve suitable legislation to protect all Victorian Brumbies in the three key areas, Ogon, the Eastern Alps and Barmer, it will be likely there will be no more wild-living Brumbies left in our Victorian national parks, and that will be a travesty. Do we want that? No. They will be removed, shot in traps, or subjected to cruel aerial and ground shooting. Reports are that it has already started. Current standalone management plans are death traps for Brumbies. There are other ways Brumbies can be managed that does not include cruelty and inhumane treatment. Nearly 250,000 people have signed petitions delivered to the Andrews government calling for an end to cruel shooting and for the introduction of legislation. Many thousands of people have sent letters, including our campaign letters, demanding an end of shooting Brumbies and for protecting legislation. So when will this government understand we are not going away?
No.
No way.
We are here for the long haul. To support the end of Brumby shooting, Brumbies and the introduction of a bill, I'm asking everybody, please, to speak to your members of Parliament. Please ask them to speak out against the archaic cruelty of shooting Brumbies and to support the bill. Before legislation can be passed, it will need to be approved after debate in both upper and lower houses of Parliament, and it will only be passed if we can get as many members of Parliament on board who will vote in favour of it. So everybody needs to speak to their members of Parliament. In June 2020, Wendy Lovell MP tabled our first e-petition with 14,000 signatures calling for a stop to shooting Brumbies. She also put a notice of motion to the upper house of Parliament. On voting, it was supported unanimously and even supported by Labor MPs who actually crossed the floor. So it's possible to get the support we need, but you need to speak to members of Parliament.
Thank you, Marilyn, and certainly thank you, Bev, too, for your wonderful opening of this rally. It certainly means a lot to everyone that's here. I do have a very soft heart with the Barmer Brumbies. Probably started about 16, 17 years ago when husband and I loved to go camping, but our two children were reluctant to go camping, so the only way we could get them to go was to say there were Brumbies up in Barmer. Well, 17, 18 years later, I'm still up there with Barmer and loving the Brumbies. A big part of why we're here today for Barmer is to obviously acknowledge Kay and Jerry Moore. Kay is actually standing over there with the Stop the Bullet sign, and we are the reason that the Barmer Brumby Hay Angels exist, for Kay and for Jerry, so we're here for you too. And the Brumbies to Jerry mean a hell of a lot, and Jerry sent me a few words last night that he would like to read out on his behalf. I have a lifetime of memories with the Barmer Brumbies. I'm in my 80s and I've always been with the Brumbies. My mum, dad, grandparents all lived in the Barmer forest at Rats Castle. I know the Barmer, and it's not the Barmer without the Brumbies. I was part of 2 attempts to remove Brumbies way back, and the result was that 2 horses being ridden around to round them up got injured. It was never tried again. It will be impossible to yard them without causing injury or death. I would agree to management should the need arise if numbers were out of control, and it's proven that what the Brumbies do. They don't do the damage they claim. It's rubbish. Best managers of the Brumbies were the herdsmen, not these city people that have no idea how the bush works. I say keep your bullets and keep your hands off my Brumbies. Just leave them alone, Jerry. That is that they should not be trapping in foaling season. Exactly. Yeah. And that was a big thing, and I know Bev raised this in Parliament with the e-petition just recently, and you caused an absolute stir. And now, the traps, they've been packed up, they're gone. Yeah, it's only a little bit of a stay of execution, but really, these Brumbies, they represent our nation's heritage. They don't deserve the cruelty involved with their removal and aerial shooting. It would be a mighty moment to see legislation pass. Stop the bullets on our Brumbies, Minister D'Ambrosio, Daniel Andrews, Parks Victoria, Yorta Yorta. It's our cultural history that we want to preserve. Keep your hands off our Brumbies. Thank you.
So we really need more volunteers and trainers to help us to rehome our Brumbies faster so we can save more. Because I don't trust our authorities that they really stop shooting our Brumbies or to get rid of them, that they're all gone. So we can do only so much. So we have other challenges as well. We don't have enough support, financial, because they take use a lot of money for food, for hay, for equipment. You know, you need to pay vet bills, they need to get gelded. We can't rehome stallions. So that makes it very hard. So people don't understand really how hard it is. Plus, the physical work every day there. You need to clean up the paddocks, you need to feed them, then handle them. So it's quite a lot involved. What I would like to see is that our authority just slow down the process so we have more time. You know, we just don't have enough time to take more because it takes a while to get them to the stage that they say.
So Sam wants to share with you her experiences and welcomes any questions at the end of her speaking. So please welcome Sam.
Thank you, Marilyn, and thank you, Renee. Thank you for having me here today. So in 2017, as Marilyn said, my sister and I became aware of the Arizona State Prison Program run by Randy Helm. It was set up in 2012 by Randy Helm, who is an incredible horseman, and he's now become a pastor on horseback because he retired this year. But the program in Arizona State Prison in the middle of the desert, the prisoners, or inmates as they're called in America, actually built the whole complex. So they have veterinary complex on site, they have corrals for breaking, they have stables for keeping, they have huge yards for the animals. They have a limit of approximately 70 horses, but I know that when we were there, the Bureau of Land Management, who they went into partnership with, actually had a lot more horses and burros in there. So my sister and I, we travelled over there and we were allowed for the day to actually interview the inmates and Randy Helm. So we wanted to know what actually empowered the inmates to change, because a 98% change in recidivism is unheard of around the world. This is the only program, and I think it runs at average now 95%. Now, Parks Victoria want to kill these magnificent animals. What the hell for? So when we came back to Australia, my sister and I talked about doing a proposal to Victoria Justice. So my sister spent months putting a business proposal to them. You've got prison farms in Victoria with hundreds of acres, tons and tons of room. You could grow your own horse feed. You could get the prisoners to build your yards. You could get your prisoners to build your vet areas. You could get your prisoners to build your stables. There is a purpose out there, and there's something that we can do that's not going to kill these horses. It's going to rehome them, and it's actually going to make money for the state government if they at least listen and step up and do something.
A message from overseas. Scott Beckstead is the Director of Campaigns for Animal Wellness Action and the Centre for Humane Economy. He's also the Adjunct Professor of Law at Willamette University. The Brumbies are under attack from self-proclaimed environmental purists who refuse to acknowledge the important role wild Brumbies play in the ecosystem. Whether in the US or Australia, removing large numbers of those animals from their home range involves terrible cruelty and mistreatment, and it's important that those of us who love them find our voice and build awareness among the rank and file public to reach out to their elected officials and urge them to find a better, more humane way of managing these icons who serve as icons of our nation's heritage. Thank you all for what you are doing for the Brumbies, and know that here in the United States we are cheering your efforts and joining you in spirit to demand that our horses be treated with kindness and respect. Well, we know what the solution is for us in Victoria, and I really believe it's legislation. If we don't get legislation, I just really worry about the future for our Brumbies, because the Parks Victoria management plans will not improve.
Thank you to each and every one of you for being here today to protect our beautiful Heritage Brumbies. I'm sorry I cannot be with you, but I can assure you I'm here with you in spirit. The Brumbies need us now more than ever. Through their Barmah Forest Joint Management Plan and Feral Horse Action Plan, Daniel Andrews and Lily D'Ambrosio plan to eradicate all the Brumbies from the Barmah Forest through trapping, aerial shooting the Brumbies in the Alpine National Parks also. This is inhumane and must be stopped. Brumbies are part of our culture and heritage, and like you, I am opposed to the Andrews Labor's government's plans. I have been fighting this in Parliament for a number of years now, and I will continue to fight for these magnificent animals. You being here today makes an enormous statement to the government, and the publicity it generates will mean more Victorians will be aware of what the government plans are. I encourage you to protest against the plans to eradicate the Barmah Brumbies and aerial shoot the Brumbies in the Alpine National Park. And I promise you I will continue to stand with you to save the Brumbies. Wendy Lovell, Member for Northern Victorian Region. Thank you, Wendy. We normally have Charlie Lovick attend our rallies, and he's been to 2 of our 3 rallies, so he's only missed this one. But spoke to Charlie the other day, and he has sent me something to read out on his behalf. The murder of an Australian icon, the Alpine Brumbie, is the most disgusting method of management that any clear-thinking Australian could ever hear. We as mountain horsemen, who are professional, qualified, caring defenders of our Australian way of life, have offered ample proof to this government that we have the means and the ability to ably manage the Alpine Brumbie with the same methods that have been used successfully for over 100 years. All this at no cost to the government or Parks Victoria. We have been thwarted every turn by the Green Movement, the Victorian National Parks Association and Parks Victoria, who are intent on the eradication of our beloved icon. Well managed, there is room for all. Our opponents who prefer to shoot first and ask questions later, led by Phil Ingemels, the Victorian National Parks Association, have an ulterior motive, which has been to eradicate Brumbies from the Bogong High Plains and reserve the area for its own exclusive use. We as caring Australians will not sit idly by and accept this outcome. Charlie Lovick.
All right, this is us. We're going to walk up to the minister's office, and our lawyer, Marilyn Nuske, is going to ask to present a letter to the minister
Stay nice and tight together as
and see how we go there.
Signs up so they're all visible. We're just about all there, and off we go. What do we want? Brumbies legislation! When do we want it? Now! Save our Brumbies! Save our Brumbies! Our Brumbies, our heritage! Our Brumbies, our heritage! Save our Brumbies! Save our Brumbies! What do we want? Brumbies legislation! When do we want it? Now! Save our Brumbies! Save our Brumbies!
And I'd like you to pass it on to her. Would you mind putting it on her desk and making sure that she reads it? What's your name? Mary. Mary, thank you so much. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Mary. Well, we've delivered the bill for legislation.